Now, our very first story. The Supreme Court on Wednesday granted former Attorney General Martin Amidu's wish to question businessman Alfred Agbesi Woyome about the 51 million cedis paid him in judgment debt some 5 years ago. Though he has been ordered to refund the monies to the state, not much has been paid except for 4 million cedis he paid back recently. It is anticipated that former AG's oral examination of the businessman may result in the disclosure of names of persons who have benefited from his largesse and fast-track the retrieval of the money. Joseph Akable was in court and reports on the proceedings and reactions from the parties involved.
What sort of thing is this?
That was businessman Alfred Woyome and an aide gesturing the camera crew to turn their devices away from him right outside the court premises after Justice Enini Yeboah delivered a judgment. He also confronted legal practitioner and host of Newsfile on Joy News, Samson Ladi Ayenini. The order was direct. The embattled businessman is to make himself available in the witness box next week Thursday, November 24, to answer questions relating to what assets he owns, as well as tell the court how the 52 million cedis was spent. The former AG filed a motion at the Apex Court after the Attorney General had backed down on an earlier application to thoroughly examine Mr. Woyome. In his affidavit, Mr. Amidu alleged that the AG backed down because the businessman had threatened to mention names of government appointees who had benefited from the said amount. This application was opposed by the Attorney General and the lawyer for Alfred Agbesi Woyome. They both argued that the law permitted the AG to lead such an action and not a citizen of the country. Justice Enini Yeboah in his ruling said the decision by the AG to discontinue the examination meant there was no formal document before the court as to how the state intended to retrieve the money. Justice Enini Yeboah said the retrieval of such a colossal amount of money will go into the state coffers. He also pointed out that Article 2.3 of the 1992 Constitution allowed the former AG to undertake the action he was seeking. A visibly outraged Mr. Woyome refused to speak to journalists, but could be heard vowing to fight to the end. Next week's date between the two at the Supreme Court is certainly one to look forward to. For Joy News, Joseph Akable reporting.
Now, Citizen Vigilante Martin Amidu did not speak to newsmen after Wednesday's ruling by the Supreme Court. He has, however, been explaining why he wants to cross-examine Mr. Woyome. The following remarks were made on Newsfile 2 weeks ago.
It was the NDC government, through its Attorney General, who paid the money to Woyome. And the NDC government, through the Attorney General, was the first defendant. And the Supreme Court found that their conduct was unconstitutional. And that is why they should retrieve the money, and they are not trying to do that because they are interested parties. Yes, the contract was done in April 2006 during the MPP. But the MPP didn't pay any money to Woyome. Woyome couldn't get them to pay, so he waited. When they were out of power, he said he was an NDC financier. He went and colluded with the government, and the government looted our money, 51 million, and gave to him. Collect the money, you are not doing it. And in any case, if there's a letter which says that they are going to come and settle with the Attorney General, why don't you go to court and ask for the case to be adjourned instead of discontinuing? Simple, common sense. You see, they are trying to steal and to defraud Ghana. They don't know how to do it.
In a related development, businessman Alfred Woyome in the last couple of hours has been reacting to Wednesday's Supreme Court ruling. In an interview granted to media houses and streamed live on Daily Graphic's Facebook page, Mr. Woyome criticized the Supreme Court, which he said was being used to persecute him and other citizens whose names have appeared in the supposed list of beneficiaries of the monies paid him. He explained the decision of the current Attorney General to discontinue the cross-examination, which is now being pursued by Martin Amidu, is well informed. He expressed confidence the majority of Ghanaians are on his side.
They found out that no, the path that the attorney and others were taking was improper. So they decided to listen to it and discontinue this based on my promise to pay 4 million and also structure the rest payment quarterly at 5 million to finish the payment. Why has some people who have personal interest in this case gone and trying to create a situation in social media and obtain of a list of purported recipients and here and there in order to create something against innocent people in the ruling government and even in the opposition. This is improper. The apex courts can never be used to tarnish the image of any citizen. Now, the content and the comment by the learned Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Duchi, of create, loot, and share was not part of the judgment. It was a dissenting opinion on which he stated those opinions. And those opinions have been debunked. It has been debunked because people who have taken, the lower courts, who have taken evidence, have stated clearly that it was not so. And therefore, anybody mentioning create, loot, and share is creating a judicial problem for himself. Because it was a part of that judgment. There was no create, loot, and share. I don't have money to be sharing at Father Christmas. I'm a hard-working businessman. I work with several countries. And if you go to even to Togo, most of the time, I am in the front page of papers with them. I do a lot of things. I cannot come and tell the public what I do. I'm not running for an office. Neither am I interested in running for an office. Why are people hooked onto this? What are they trying hard to defend? What are they preventing to hold on to this? The matter is plain, clear. Sometimes I marvel myself. The question is, the propaganda, the lies, the vilification on a fellow citizen like yours is too much. 5 years is enough. If there were any iota of truth, they should have gotten it. It is enough. It has affected my family, affected myself, church members, many people. And I can tell you for a majority of Ghanaians who are the silent people are with me in this matter. And I think that it is time as a nation for us to understand what is good for us, what we should fight for. If you keep quiet, it's coming to you. Because Supreme Court judgment is not binding on Alfred Woyome. It's binding on all Ghanaian citizens, no matter how it is. I am determined to pay the money said by the Supreme Court, but I will follow the order and ask at when I have money, I will pay to rest this matter, but I will pursue this matter with the last drop of my blood until justice is served. But as for the government, here it is. They were not in power when this thing happened. They were not part of the people or in the BNI who were discussing these matters with me. This matter was not supposed to be like this. But for certain people, am I the only judgment debtor in this country? The sole commissioner also did something. We are in court. I won't talk about that one. How many people are with before the Supreme Court who have not paid? Why me? And this, I am appealing to the Chief Justice through this medium to say that I feel that the Supreme Court is against me. But we will use legal means, and if we come again, let everybody pay attention. Everything about Woyome will be against Woyome in the Supreme Court. Just watch. Everything about Woyome. Now they have even opened the floodgate for 26 million Ghanaians. Each one of them can go and apply to say that I want to examine Woyome. The Attorney General's position, which is not for this government, it's Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana, have been given to a private citizen. We will fight.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break. We have more stories coming up. Don't go away. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, about a third of the electorate in Ghana consider themselves as floating voters who do not identify with any political party. According to a survey conducted by the Center for Democratic Development in October this year, The number of such voters, often the most sought after in any election, also appears to be growing. Joy News' Hannah Odami reports the National Commission for Civic Education also scored poor marks in the survey, which assessed the prospects for credibility and peacefulness ahead of the elections.
Voters have often determined the outcome of Ghana's elections as they are more amenable to the messages from the political parties, unlike the hardcore followers who hardly ever changed their minds. The October survey revealed the number of floating voters had gone up marginally from the 30% in July this year to 31% in October. Announcing the results of the survey, senior research fellow Dr. Edem Salome could not explain why the 31% will not identify with any party.
A majority of Ghanaians, 64%, say they feel close to a political party. Now pay attention to the percentage that say they do not feel close to a political party. Now what that means in plain language is that there are more floating voters that we probably know. So this percentage dropped only by 1%. From the July survey. So 31% say they are not close to any political party.
69% of the nearly 3,000 respondents were also of the opinion political parties and candidates are involved in vote buying, with cash, clothing, household items, and alcohol among the items being handed out in exchange for votes. Meanwhile, the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE, which ideally should be advocating against acts such as vote buying, were found to be performing rather poorly in a number of fronts, especially with their preparedness for the elections. The Ghana Police Service, on the other hand, came up tops. Another interesting result from this survey is that 78% of Ghanaians prefer a free and fair election, even if their preferred candidate does not win. Yet, fear the tallying of the poll numbers may not be accurate.
Close to 8 in 10 say that they prefer to have a completely free and fair elections, even if their candidate fails to win. And again, a large majority, 44%, believe it is very or somewhat likely that the wrong vote tally would be announced.
One high point of the survey is that 9 out of 10 voters say they will participate in the upcoming elections. For Joy News, my name is Hannah Odami.
Chief Justice Theodora Georgina Wood has assured Ghanaians the judiciary is committed to ensure free and fair elections. Madam Theodora Wood gave the assurance as she launched the 3rd edition of the Manual on Election Adjudication in Ghana. As the country heads to the polls in 20 days, the Chief Justice has also advised parties to use peaceful means to address disputes. A power outage shortly after the program got underway, however, meant that the speakers, including the Chief Justice, had to address the gathering with light supply from a mobile phone until rechargeable lamps were provided.
We in the judiciary recognize this duty, namely that as the final arbiters, we have a responsibility to guide this nation towards peaceful, orderly, and credible elections as a constitutional imperative. A responsibility that is not to be toyed with, but one to be guarded jealously and responsibly. It is a constitutional responsibility to which, as faithful arbiters, we have pledged our unstinting loyalty, heart, soul, and mind, assured that this is the only genuine path to a further consolidation of our nascent democracy and survival of our nation. In the broader context, our determination reflects the judiciary's continuing commitment and promise to Ghanaians, as per the solemn oaths we subscribe to on our appointments, to be steadfastly a part of the solution process for the protection of the democratic principles and values. More importantly, it shows our commitment to safeguard the right to vote within the right political space, namely in free and fair elections. Disputes remain an inevitable feature of elections, regardless of best efforts at perfecting the electoral process. The potentials of legal disputes arising before, during, or after the election day proper are real. When they do occur, where they cannot, with the best of intentions, be resolved amicably, we equally expect resort to our courts.
British High Commissioner John Benjamin also urged calm.
We hope as a result of those few incidents that the situation will be under control and there won't be any more. We've got all this way to within 3 weeks now of the elections, and the campaign has been very peaceful, it's been very impressive. But of course, in any country, the tensions get a bit higher the closer you get to the date. So we just hope that cool heads will prevail on all sides, and the job of public security will be left to the people it should be left to, which is the police.
Finally, you said that visas of those who cause violence would be revoked. How is the British High Commission going to do this?
Well, I'm not going to reveal the details, but of course, if it comes to our attention that people are organising or provoking vigilantes or using hate speech, then we will consider that action.
In other news, opposition New Patriotic Party is asking government to halt the payment of contract sums amounting to 448 million cedis to waste management company Zoomlion Ghana Limited. The contract agreement between the government and Zoomlion was cancelled in 2013, but the NPP says government is still paying the company for no work done.
Startling developments of President John Mahama's commitments to paying nearly $500 million Ghana cedis, being a purported management service fee to a company with no contractual engagement with the state. Already, 62 million Ghana cedis of this illegal amount has been paid. And to make matters worse, Cabinet has given go-ahead for the use of 10% of the District Assembly Common Fund allocated to the Youth Employment Agency to make this illegal payment. This amount is meant to pay for 45,000 workers who are actually on the payroll of the various district assemblies. So the assemblies are responsible for paying the wages of the 45,000 and not the service provider. This act of corruption is a matter for which Ghanaians must demand and deserve answers to.
According to the party, this new revelation should provoke Ghanaians to demand accountability.
We also need to note the fact that the board of the Youth Employment Agency is being asked to take all necessary steps to ratify the sanitation contract for 2013 to 2015. Since this contract has expired and not in operation, why would they rectify it by backdating? They try to justify the necessity by claiming that sanitation activities could not be brought to an abrupt end countrywide. Yet, this is not the case for nurses, teachers, and other essential service workers who have active, ongoing contracts, yet have not been paid their salaries, which are many months in arrears.
In another development, the New Patriotic Party's presidential candidate Nana Akufo-Addo is calling for an end to tribal politics in the country since it has far-reaching consequences. The NPP will hold a vigil this evening at the Koforidua Jackson's Park to pray for peace for Ghana and victory for the NPP ahead of this year's election. Prophet Owusu Bempah is expected to lead the service tonight. Over 5,000 candles will be lit on the streets of Koforidua tonight. We're being joined on the phone lines now by correspondent Maxwell Kudeko. Good evening to you. Maxwell, how ready is the place for this vigil? Hello, Maxwell. If you can hear me, how ready is the Koforidua Jackson's Park for the vigil tonight?
Well, personally, hundreds of people eating into thousands have gathered at Koforidua Jackson's Park, waiting for the flag bearer of the NPP to join them to start the procession. Supposed to start the procession. Koforidua Jackson's Park, up to the Jackson Park, where a tester would be heard to pray for Ghana and then also to pray for the future of the FDP. That's what it is. They said about 5,000 candles will be light on the streets of Koforidua today, just to create their awareness and also to draw people's attention to the effect. We are told Reverend Prophet Owusu Bempah is still to lead the church service this evening to pray for the people of Ghana. Personally, we are waiting for the arrival of Nana Akufo-Addo. Today, Nana went to two major constituencies in the Eastern Region, the Afram Place North and South, where he interacted with the chiefs and people of the area. He assured them of his commitment in establishing a community of education in the Afram Place district, and then also he talked about the attitude or what he described as current trend in Ghanaian politics, that is playing on tribal cards in the Ghanaian politics, and call for a ceasefire, that people should desist from playing the tribal cards. Presently, the people of Koforidua to join the procession and then also to the online service.
Thank you very much, Maxwell Kudeko, bringing us an update on the vigil by the New Patriotic Party expected to come off tonight in Koforidua. Women in politics have been challenged to champion the... I'll take that again. Women in politics have been challenged to champion the campaign for peace, even as the political parties crisscross the country selling their policy plans to the electorate ahead of the December polls. The challenge was issued by the Women's Situation Room, a group of eminent women who have come together to consolidate the peace currently enjoyed by the country.
The one-day inter-party dialogue brought together regional and national women executives of the 6 contesting political parties, all of whom had one objective: commitments to peace before, during and after the 2016 general elections.
We are pleading with our security, especially our IGP, that the coming election, I know we have a peaceful president, a president that sleeps Ghana, a president that thinks Ghana, a president that walks Ghana. Through him today, Ghana has become a place of everybody. For example,
my peace message goes to all. It goes to the police. It goes to the media. It goes to the political parties. It goes to parents. It goes to the youth of this country. It goes to the women of this country. It goes to our children. It goes to various religious bodies. It also goes to the Electoral Commission.
Before you go out to campaign or preach unity or peace, just look at yourself. Your body language counts. Not only money. Politics is not about money. Politics is about how you attract the people.
National Coordinator of Women's Situation Room, Ajwa Bame, told Joy News The move is to consolidate the peaceful atmosphere in the country.
We don't sense there's going to be conflict, but we also know that it's a mechanism that brings together women and youth. And we know, it's not like we have never seen it before. We know that youth have been used, and then when anything happens, it's the women who suffer. Like we all say, prevention is better than cure. Ghana has been enjoying peace, but we also know that all it takes is one wrong word, and we could be something else. So it's not because we are foreseeing chaos or violence. We just want to ensure that the elections are peaceful and we maintain the peace that we are already enjoying.
The group will on Thursday undertake a peace walk to the headquarters of the NDC and MPP, where a peace message will be submitted to the national executives of the party.
We're taking a break now, but up next is Business News. Yes, it's time for business, and it's me, because the business team is nowhere to be found. Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority says it will meet its end-of-year target despite challenges with mobilization for the half year. The authority is expected to mobilize some 28 billion Ghana cedis, however, with some setbacks. As of July, in meeting the half-year target, there are fears the situation could worsen by end of year. This has already resulted in government spending 3 billion cedis more than budgeted as of July. But Commissioner General George Blankson says the situation will improve by end of December.
August and September figures show a better performance in revenue than we had in July. And this is because when we recorded the dip in July, we have put in a lot of new measures and also strategies for enhancement of revenue in the medium term, and they are beginning to yield results. In fact, we are here to have a meeting with the Minister on revenue strategies and so on that will ensure that by the end of the year, we shall have our breast to the tape in terms of revenue target realization. Expanding the tax net can only be done when you change the laws and so on largely. But we are intensifying collection and also strengthening the system that we have and eliminating those loopholes and so on, working more diligently in the context of the framework of the tax laws that we currently have. That's what the short-term measures are aimed at.
The new Patriotic Party parliamentary candidate for the Navrongo Central constituency in the Upper East region, Joseph Kofi Adda, says the NPP's campaign promises of one village, one dam and one district, one factory is an indication that the party has the best intentions for peasant farmers in the country. Mr. Kofi Adda was speaking at an engagement between the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana and parliamentary candidates of various political parties in the Navrongo Central constituency. Upper East correspondent Albert Sori has more.
The engagement between the peasant farmers and the parliamentary candidates was intended to provide opportunity for the various candidates to share with the farmers how they plan to support farming if they are elected. The parliamentary candidates present at the encounter were the NPP's Joseph Kofi Adda and the PNC's Joseph Weguri. The NDC's Makoyongo and the PPP's candidate Susanna Kuberiziga could not attend the engagement but sent representatives. NPP parliamentary candidate for Navrongo Central Joseph Kofi Adda reiterated his party's promise of 1 village, 1 dam and 1 district, 1 factory, saying the 2 promises are indications of the NPP's commitment to supporting peasant farmers.
Anybody who's taken out a party, or political party like that, and how serious they are, how committed they are, hearing these 2 phrases, or these 2 slogans, 1 village, 1 dam, 1 district, 1 factory, should tell you that this is something that this organization called the New Patriotic Party wants to ensure the farmer is adequately supported.
The PNC parliamentary candidate for Navrongo Central believes introducing new breeds of livestock will be one key way to support peasant farmers if he is elected as MP.
Livestock, important for the peasant farmers. So of me, as your MP-elect, block and block farming, we have studied and seen the challenges. We'll review it and make it more interesting for the sake of the peasant farmer.
The representative of the Progressive People's Party parliamentary candidate for Navrongo Central also offered some interventions for the farmers.
The PPP party is given the nod. What we are going to look at is to use the government purchasing power to boost the agriculture sector of this country. And we are also looking at the infrastructure, road infrastructure, storage facilities, in order to make sure that when we farm, we are able to get market.
Mark Oyongo, who is the NDC's parliamentary candidate, was represented by Fabian Achana.
It is the intention of this government that if the total irrigation facility is revamped, we are going to establish a rice mill facility to support rice farmers. I think you are also already aware that government has already constructed a vegetable warehouse that is going to ensure that storage, transport, and then marketing is improved for those who are in the vegetable farming.
National President of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Abdul Rahman Mohammed, later spoke to Joy News on the reason for which the association organized such an event.
It's because if you look at the entire nation, I have to see that farmers are forming the majority of the population. We think that we have something to say in government. Therefore, we need to know what, if you are voted into power, what you have for the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. That's why we have organized this important occasion.
Albert Soares.
In other stories, the Ghana Police Service says it will do everything within its power to ensure that imposters do not get away with fraudulent activities. According to the Accra Region Police PRO, ASP Efia Tenge, criminal activities will not thrive under their watch, especially with the approach of the election. The assurance follows the arrest of a 30-year-old man who wore a military uniform, armed himself, and stationed at Adenta Frafraha in Accra, where preparations were underway for President Mahama to commission a community day senior high school. ASP Efia Tenge has been explaining to Joy News the latest development on that matter.
Actually, what happened was that on the said day, we were all undertaking certain security assessments and certain security measures to ensure the successful arrival of the president, until we realized that this man was around, and he's been with some of the security men around, going up and down. So looking at his demeanor, observing him for some time, we decided to probe further and find out who he was, because we knew ourselves, we knew the actual components, the number of personnel that were there. So we had to invite him, where we asked what he was doing there. Then he boldly told the police that, oh yes, he's one of the national security operatives, and he has been assigned to the Flagstaff House, so he's also here to also ensure. So right from the beginning, we said, oh, okay, fine, until we had the national security, the real operatives coming. Then in the process, we also try to cross-check, because in some of these ceremonies or events, we have the way we organize our things, only for them to say that no, they did a little bit of questioning. Then we really got to know that he was just there. He didn't know what to say, and we realized that yes, he was an imposter. So we conducted a search on him, and we found a pistol on him. We also found a pair of handcuffs. So we extended our search further to his abodes and any place that we believe he could hide any of these things. Then we got to the military uniforms, the boots, the berets, and things that should belong to the security sector, hence arresting him.
Now, imagine women using sticks to beat the surface of the bank of a dam in order to harden it so it can hold water for the dry season farming. The scenario may seem weird, but that is how some women in the Garo Timpani district of the Upper East region are earning a living. The Ghana Social Opportunities Project is supporting the construction of a small earth dam at the Zesisiri community of Garo, but instead of fully engaging the services of earth-moving equipment, the project engages community members, mostly women, to do some of the work so that they can also earn some income. Upper East correspondent Albert Sori reports.
The dam started as a small dugout that was made by the Zesiri community members themselves. Later, government through the Ghana Social Opportunities Project supported the community to expand the dugout into a small earth dam capable of holding more water. At the time of Joy News' visit to the area, these women were busy trying to harden the surface of the bank by beating it with sticks. As they did so, they sang songs to motivate themselves to keep on with the work. These other women carried gravel in headpans and brought it to the bank where it was being heaped and leveled. The men in the community were not left out. Many of them were sighted on the other end of the dam, digging out gravel for the construction. Since the manual work alone cannot effectively complete the construction, some machines were used at various stages. Ajua Asotia Boache is Upper East Regional Coordinator for the Ghana Social Opportunities Project.
The water in that could last for only a month after the dry season, and so they needed something bigger which could feed the animals. According to them, this whole area, there isn't any source of water for their animals, so the animals had to travel very far away from here, long distances to get water, and usually they lost the animals through that, because some of them they go, never come back. So in fact, according to the community, they had made this request to the district for about 13 years now.
She said professional and technical support are being given to ensure that the work is safe and effective.
The main idea is to employ the people, and we know that it works where the human beings are put together to do such. In fact, we have given them training as well. So far, we've done about supervisors, over 400 supervisors have been trained in the country to give technical support. Of course, for dam projects, we also relying on the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority to give technical backstopping. When it comes to roads, the Federal Roads Department, and then the climate change mitigation activities, mostly the Ministry of Agri at the district level or the Forestry Department.
Some of the women who work at the construction site spoke to Joy News about how it is benefiting them.
Our children are in school, but we don't have anything to support them till they complete. That is why when this project was brought here, we decided to take advantage of it so that we can support the children with the little we get. Working here is helping us to cater for our children. We are paid 8 Ghana cedi a day, but we will appreciate it if they can increase the amount. I have put some of the money I make here into Susu savings. My children are also in school. So by the time the project will be over, I would have benefited a lot.
In all, 283 Zesri community members are working at the construction site. The Ghana Social Opportunities Project also has a mango plantation at Tariganga, also in the Garu Timpani district of the Upper East region. The plantation is said to be benefiting some 596 farmers. The project is also supporting women in the district who are into shea butter processing and soap making. The Ghana Social Opportunities Project is supported by the World Bank. The country director, Henry Kerali, says he was satisfied with work so far.
Is to end poverty and boost shared prosperity. So in that light, what we try to do is to provide opportunities, social opportunities, some physical infrastructure, some productive investment, as we call it, that they can in future rely on, so that they don't become entirely dependent on the state. They're able to generate an income through the activities that we are doing now. Secondly, we know that in this area, the rain season is very short. So during the dry season, which can be 6, 7, 8 months, most of the community is effectively unemployed.
Albert Soris reports.
All right, Ms. G is here. Good evening to you, Ms. G.
Good evening, Israel. How are you doing?
I'm well. How about you?
Very well,
Okay.
but
I can see you look well, but what?
But I'll tell you later.
Why do you want to keep us in suspense? It's not just me, it's the viewers.
But it has got to do with just you.
Really?
You know what? Okay, I'll say it. On my birthday, you didn't give me anything. But today is my colleague Dorina Vio's birthday, and you bought her pizza, that's all. And I'm not too happy about that. So what are you doing about it?
So that was what you were going to talk about?
Yes.
All right. We can talk about that off. I'll take care of you.
Let everybody know. Are you buying me a car? Are you buying me heels as well? Anyway.
This is blackmail.
It's not blackmail.
On live TV. Let's talk about that later.
I'll tell you more about what I want later. Okay, so now we can talk about Katare. Now, he's been gone since Monday, but apparently a while ago he was on a Delay show, and Delay actually asked him about what he felt about death and his future.
The future there,
I'm grown and still growing, and just like every plantation is harvested at a specific time, so is death inevitable for humans. But for me, what I always ask from God is to allow me die peacefully when my time of death is due.
You think about death?
Different.
Anyone who doesn't think about death is a weird person. You should bear in mind that just like how you came in existence, so will you depart when your time is due. Where do you think a good man like myself will go after death?
Okay.
Thanks and welcome to your sports here on Joy News Prime. We begin with the Ghana Premier League, where international sports gaming company Betway and Ashanti Gold have unveiled their new kits for the 2016-2017 season. We'll now take the thoughts of the CEO of Ashanti Gold, Kujo Fiano.
Don't forget, Betway have been in this business also for a very long time. For a company that is sponsoring a solid team like West Ham, should tell you that they know what they're about. So they have set the standards, and we ought to follow. When we spoke to them and then we put pen to paper, they said we should find time to unveil our kits. That's why we are here. And as I said, having set that standard, it's going to be a tall order though, but I think that we have the personnel and what it is to match them and make sure that they don't regret investing in Ash Gold. It's a turning point. It's a turning point, especially looking at it from what happened to us last season, let us not forget the fact that Ash Gold has set certain standards. When you look at the way we kit ourselves in the past, up to now, it's just that it is going a higher notch. Kappa kit, well-known kit, as you know, Kappa, and we believe that this will also serve as a gingering point for the players to realize that management, we have done our part. We've been able to get them sponsorship that will make sure that payments, their monthly remuneration will not be delayed. We've also made sure that they will be dressed very well, and with that, we believe that the players will have no excuse if they don't deliver.
That's it for the bulletin. My name is Israel Lai. For more news, you can log on to myjournalonline.com. Have a good evening.
This is Joy News Prime.